And, more on Aaron Rodgers there. I thought it was an interesting conversation I came across recently when it comes to bringing Jordan Love into the Packers onto the team necessarily. And heading into this, Aaron Rodgers was similar to Jordan Love in the fact that they wanted to move on from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Previously, they wanted to move on from Favre to Rodgers. So there was a comp there, and that's just kind of off the field stuff. But the thing I thought that was super interesting was the relationship between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers comparatively to the lack of relationship with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So is that a personality thing? And we know Aaron Rodgers as more of a personality, and then he also happens to be an NFL quarterback with the way that he's been, in the media lately.
Yeah,
so
right.
Talk to me a little bit more about the differences between those two relationships.
Yeah, what I find so fascinating, and it only struck me as you were explaining it. Brett Favre, if I would have asked you myself, if you would have asked me in 1995 or 1996 when Brett Favre was at his
I would have loved to know you back then.
I mean, look, I was, 9 years old. I was a lot of fun at 9 years old.
Yeah.
I was wearing cowboy boots and jeans and brush poppers. I thought,
and I was still the same size that I am today.
Yeah. And I probably was too.
Yeah.
And then it changed. No, he was this fun-loving guy and everyone's favorite teammate and just like one of the boys. And it would have shocked me to find out that he was cold to a backup quarterback. Doug Peterson for years was his best friend. Now, Doug Peterson, not half as good as Brett Favre. The difference is when Rodgers came in, Favre was mulling retirement. And Favre took it really, really personally in a way that I did not expect. And also, Aaron Rodgers, if you read The Gunslinger, which is a great book by Jeff Pearlman, Rodgers was a dick, like flat out was a dick to Brett Favre, saying things like calling him grandpa and old man and just like constantly poking the bear, as it were. And then in practice, going out and like throwing no-look passes. And he looks the part too. He's this swaggering guy. And that's just the opposite of how Brett Favre was. So that was oil and water from the start. Now, post-career, they have mended that fence and they're friends and they actually speak regularly, apparently, which is interesting. But Jordan Love is not that guy. But Aaron Rodgers is prickly. We know that he's a prickly guy. And so he was pissed about the draft pick. But if you hear him tell it, he will say it was never about Jordan Love. It was just about what he represented. That the team was ready to get rid of me. I was mad at the team. It wasn't Jordan Love's fault. And so it is a remarkable piece of compartmentalization. If you want to go to therapy for a second and have,
which Rodgers I will in about a half hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. It's good. Everyone can benefit from something like that. We have this incredible compartmentalization between the way I feel about how you arrived here and how I feel about you, the person. That seems impossible to me that he was able to do that. And yet, if you ask Jordan Love, he will tell you Rodgers was his boy, still is his boy, and that they have a great relationship off the field. And there is a cynical side of some people will tell you, oh, well, Rodgers cozy up to Love because he knew Love wasn't as good as him and it didn't matter. And the reason that Favre hated Rodgers was better than Favre at that point in their careers. I don't know if I buy that, frankly. And also, Jordan Love's really good. I don't know, like people watched last year, the second half especially, like he was awesome.
Yeah.
And if you listen to people around that organization, and I've talked to players about it, like you could see it in practice. Jordan Love was and is really, really talented. It is kind of remarkable, though, that their relationship remained intact, given how pissed off Aaron Rodgers was that this all went down the way that it did.